The Bajaj Group is one of India's top 10 companies, with business interests ranging from steel production to finance, insurance and automobiles. Under the leadership of RahulBajaj, turnover of Bajaj Auto alone has grown more than 1,000-fold to $2.3 billion. He is one of India's leading industrial figures and has added politics to the mix. In our new peer-to-peer segment, business leader and Artok Group chairman and managing director M. Shafiq Gabbar sat down with him to get his views on India's role in the New World Order and his dissatisfaction with the progress of the Doha round.
In your business, Bajaj Autos had to adapt to competition and to world standards and to its ability to export now in many different countries around the world. What was the key ingredients again to make that transformation happen on an industrial basis?
Quite a few, but in the brief time available to me, we have a steel company, electricals company, sugar company in the group, but yes, you referred to Bajaj Auto, which makes motorcycles and three-wheelers. Now, we were in the license permitage, we were full of flab, inefficient, high cost, low quality, and still Bajaj scooter and three-wheeler had a 10-year, not week or month, delivery period. No other scooter sold. It was only the Bajaj was Weeble, the best quality. But the bars have changed. What was best quality then is poor quality today. So we had to improve productivity, efficiency, quality, everything else. And for that, the management had to change. In terms of the older people went, younger people came in. Over the last 10, 12 years, I've handed over charge very gradually and seamlessly to the younger generation.
There are challenges inside India, population, infrastructure. What are the things holding back, do you see, that should be changing in the short term?
The main problem is very poor governance. And we earmark billions of dollars for the poor. Education, health, employment money, those who are unemployed, waiving the loans of farmers, which is a bad practice, but people are committing suicide, so you have to do that. But that money, I don't know what percentage of that money which is spent goes to the intended beneficiary.
That's a good point to ask you. You are also a member of parliament, in addition to being a prominent businessman. How do you see the fact that it's not just one India, it's maybe two Indias, one that is successful, integrated globally, being able to have the benefits of globalization, but there is a gap?
Unfortunately, globalization, which has had many good effects and improved the growth rate in the world and improved the wealth generation and the wealth availability in the world, has created imbalances. It has created more inequality among nations and inequalities within nations. And that's what also has happened in developing countries, including a country like India. Inequality has increased. We have God knows how many dollar billionaires, about $30 or $40 billionaires, and our per capita income is $900 per annum. So that's not something which is sustainable in the long run.
On the issue of trade and the Doha round, which is facing significant obstacles right now, how do you see India's role, and how do you envision, given the food crisis that we see today, the issue of agriculture in that round?
Food crisis, yes, that's created a situation in the last few months, but forget the food crisis, Shafiq. What has happened since 2001? Started in Doha, wouldn't have started after 8 years of GATT and the earlier Marrakesh, what was done in Marrakesh. But because of 9/11, the developed world, and especially US, was keen to something to be done. So they started what they called the Doha Development Round. The whole idea of development was to reduce inequalities, to help the growth of developing countries. And what has happened since then? They don't accept that. And they try to divide the developing world. I'm sorry. I don't want to use a strong word, but I'm very unhappy with the approach of EU, but more than that, the US. And for agriculture in EU, especially France. And $360 billion a year they give to farmers. How many million farmers in France? How many million, if at all, in the US? Not 1 or 2 million? And we have 600 million people dependent on their farm livelihood. They can go to hell. I mean, so people say India and Brazil or India and China came in the way. Sorry, nonsense. I'm sorry to say that. I feel very strongly about it. It's the it's the US and especially France which came in the way. Their million people are more important than the developing countries, 1 billion, and India 600 million.
Given these imbalances that you refer to, the challenges, the food crisis, in one word, are you optimistic about the future or are you concerned?
I am optimistic. We are all optimistic, and it's not fashionable, quite frankly, to say you are not optimistic. But to say that I'm not concerned, I would not be telling you the whole truth, Shafiq. I am concerned. I need better governance all over the world. I need a situation where somehow the citizens of the developed world, the citizens, must come to know the facts of life. Then they can vote for the right congressman. They can send the right emails to the right congressman, and the congressman in the US, the House and the Senate, can then support the president to do the right things. Today they are afraid to do the right things. They are increasing agricultural subsidies when they should slash them, and they still want market access for subsidized agriculture from the US into our markets. I can compete, my farmer can compete with the US farmer, but I cannot, my country cannot compete with the treasury of the United States. So I hope a day will come when citizens of the world, including India and developing world and Egypt and the developed West, see what is right. They have to give and take. If they just want to take, then we are going to face problems. But I'm optimistic that that will happen.